before we go, and I am going to do a case study of my left foot, Daniel Day-Lewis, who won, and I am betting on my Daniel Day-Lewis this year as well, and he has already won in 2007 or 2008. He won the Academy for second for yet another performance, There Will Be Blood, Paul Thomas Anderson. Now, Paul Thomas Anderson's The Master is also one of the nominated films. Argo is a strong contender, okay, and all those people who have acted in it. I am still betting on Daniel Day-Lewis, Lincoln. So that makes me hark back to my left foot, 1989, and it's often called the year the Academy got it almost right. Many preconceived notions, many of the attitudes, prejudices, misgivings were dispelled. Box office bankability, yes, we are going to look at it, who were his rivals, and that will give you enough idea, and why we often say this was the year when the Academy got it right. So, nominees for the best picture that year, let us look at the best picture. Driving Miss Daisy, Warner Brothers. Born on the 4th of July, starring you know who, Universal Pictures. Dead Poets Society, Robin Williams, Touchstone. Field of Dreams, Universal, and My Left Foot. Granada, a lesser known studio, but distributed worldwide by Miramax. Best Actor, who won it that year? Jessica Tandy, Driving Miss Daisy. Isabella Adriani, the then companion of Daniel Day-Lewis. She too was, the beautiful Isabella Adriani was also nominated for Camille. Jessica Lange for Music Box. Michelle Pfeiffer, another unfortunate actor who has never won it. Okay. Johnny Depp. Okay. The Fabulous Baker Boys, and Shirley Valentine, Pauline Kael. Best Actor Male, Kenneth Branagh, Henry V, Shakespearean and British. Okay. So, two things for which the Academy members always had a soft spot for, British and Shakespeare. Okay, you know, that gives you the snob value. Robin Williams, Dead Poets Society, another is, he is an academician, To Sir with Love kind of movie, right. So, it is always, it touches a chord with the members, very sentimental mushy movie. Morgan Freeman, tremendous actor, tremendous performance for Driving Miss Daisy, also the fact that he was black, and age, okay, he has been acting for quite a while. Tom Cruise, Born on the 4th of July, box office bankability, popularity, think of what he had done before that, Top Gun, Cocktail and Days of Thunder, all money spinners. Daniel Day-Lewis, My Left Foot. Now, this is the backdrop. Golden Globes and BAFTA often give an indication of what is going to happen. This year Argo has elbowed out several films, and therefore, chances of Argo getting Golden Globes are pretty high, but not always, it does not always work that way, but it gives you a rough picture. So, Born on 4th of July, and Tom Cruise had already won the Golden Globe award for playing a paralyzed Vietnam veteran, Ron Kovic, based on a true story. So, you look at it, it is a war movie, it is Oliver Stone movie, and Tom Cruise playing it, and what is he playing? A paralyzed Vietnam hero, okay. All pluses. Daniel Day-Lewis won the New York Critics Circle, the LA Critics Award, and the National Society of Film Critics. We are talking about the canon, these are the canon forming bodies, okay. My Left Foot is also a biopic of a paralyzed Irish poet and painter, Christy Brown, again a real life story, again paralyzed. So, it was billed as the battle of the wheelchairs, Day-Lewis versus Tom Cruise. So, battle of the wheelchairs. Born on the 4th of July, Now look at the pluses again, it is an anti-war film, almost like the Deer Hunter and or that Oliver Stone trilogy, Platoon, etc. It is an Oliver Stone movie who was extremely hot during those days. He could do nothing wrong. It is part of his Vietnam trilogy, Platoon and Heaven and Earth. Vietnam is a popular theme with the Academy and its members. It was a huge commercial and critical success. Oliver Stone won the Oscar for the best director that year, and of course the Tom Cruise factor, and of course Morgan Freeman couldn't be ignored, widely respected and senior. Okay, so those are the things, age matters, experience matters. And Driving Miss Daisy, it won the best Oscar for the best picture and also for the best actor, Jessica Tandy, the 80-year-old leading lady. PR machinery, the public relations machinery for the Academy, the bigger the studio, we are talking about that Universal Studio versus Granada. So better are the chances when it's bagged, the movie is bagged by a bigger studio. Big pictures gain more visibility and the Academy voters tend to watch more of high profile movies than obscure little movies like My Left Foot. So the movie, in spite of its brilliance, didn't stand much of a chance. It was a small budget, modest movie, Irish movie made independently. It belongs to a category of so called indie cinema, okay, independent cinema, not backed by studios, okay, financed by studios, yes, distributed but not fully backed by studios. Actors, producers, directors, they all have to pitch in for their own, with their own funds, etc. Most people were not even aware of the existence of this movie. The producers of My Left Foot mailed several thousand video cassettes, those were the days of the video cassette, to the Academy's voting members, and of course it was marketed by Miramax, so it improved its chances. A word about Daniel Day-Lewis, today he is a legend, but then he was still not a very well known actor, a British actor of Irish ancestry. He is the son of the famous poet Cecil Day-Lewis, who was also poet laureate at one point. He lived in Ireland. He has done plenty of theatre, so he was a trained actor, a method actor. That is very important to remember. How Tom Cruise, flamboyant and charismatic, is not a trained actor. Day-Lewis is a very serious and trained method actor. His previous works, and they are now, this is important to note, My Beautiful Laundrette, directed by, based on a play by Hanif Qureshi and directed by Stephen Frears, who later directed The Queen, if you remember, Helen Mirren's Dangerous Liaison, okay, that great Stephen Frears. And Daniel Day-Lewis had also acted in Milan Kundera's The Unbearable Lightness of Being, a very difficult role, Zack Doctor, and E.M. Foster's A Room with a View, directed by Merchant Ivory, Ismail Merchant, James Ivory. So look at his body of work and a range. Only 3 movies, not blockbusters, but which sufficiently displayed the actor's tremendous versatility. What was his method? It is about a painter and a writer, Christy Brown, who is completely paralyzed. He suffers from an ailment called cerebral palsy. The only part of his body that functions is his left foot. Okay. So, Day-Lewis went through tremendous preparation for that role. He remained in a wheelchair throughout the shooting of the movie, okay, and would act as irascible as the real Christy Brown would be, because see, you look at the circumstances and you understand the moods, the temper, the mercurial temperament of the man, and he also maintained Brown's paralytic speech at all times, because his affliction was so severe, it had affected every part of his body. He was barely able to speak, and only people who were extremely close to him could understand, could comprehend what he actually said. Day-Lewis also practiced painting and writing with his left foot, and that has become the hallmark of all Day-Lewis's films. When he did The Gangs of New York, he trained as a butcher somewhere okay, for several months.
Story about Gangs of New York, apparently he got pneumonia on the set.
Yeah.
And he refused to take penicillin because at that point of time in 1920s New York there was no penicillin, so
he didn't want to go through. Yeah, that's method going too far.
He had to beg him to take.
Yeah. Okay. So Day-Lewis known for getting inside the mind of the character, and he says one of the things I am most intrigued by, and he's talking about his role, Christy Brown, is the character's inarticulacy. Christy Brown's struggle was to express himself, and that's the thing that I am always attracted to in a part. I have recently written a paper on Day-Lewis's method, and if you watch all his films, and there are very few films, he is very choosy, very picky, very fussy about his films. So the body of work is extremely limited, but versatility is astounding. So you watch a movie and you find basically he is interested in those characters which are essentially inarticulate, unable to express themselves. So why the Academy Award? Now Academy voters like British actors, that is a given. Academy voters also like biopics, that is also a given, and there is a method here. See, Desiree, Sergeant York, Patton, Raging Bull, Gandhi, Salieri in Amedes, Helen Mirren in The Queen, and Meryl Streep in The Iron Lady. All these are biopics. King's Speech, yes, Colin Firth, King's Speech. Oscar has a the Academy has a weakness for actors who play or who portray physical or any kind of disability, afflictions, addictions. Think the list is endless, you can always go on adding to the list, but my list of memorable performances include Jack Nicholson in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Marley Matlin in Children of a Lesser God. So, Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man, Pacino in Scent of a Woman, Colin Firth in The King's Speech, and Christian Bale in The Fighter. He is an addict, okay, and goes totally against the type. I mean, one year you have watched him in The Dark Knight, and next year you are watching him as, you know, someone who has transformed himself beyond belief, beyond recognition. So, Christian Bale is another worthy method actor. The versatility factor of Day-Lewis, people respected him as an actor, although there were only 3 movies, but people knew that he is a man who can perform, deliver. The difficulty of the role was extremely difficult to perform, and a voting member said, I saw him doing something I could not do myself. Okay, he did. And who said that? One of the greatest and most beloved leading men of all times, Gregory Peck. He confessed that what he is doing, what he has done, I can never do. So, Jim Sheridan, the director, and Day-Lewis, frequent collaborators, great friends, and they have often worked together. Following the astounding success of My Left Foot, they came together again in The Name of the Father, again a biopic of Jerry Conlon, someone who was wrongly imprisoned for Irish bombings in a British pub, yeah, IRA factor. And then The Boxer. Boxer is again about IRA. These are the things that fascinate Sheridan and Day-Lewis, and being having strong Irish roots, they do frequently this kind of work. So, other works, notable works of Day-Lewis, of course, you can keep on adding to the list, but then you have The Last of the Mohicans, a blockbuster directed by the great Michael Mann. Scorsese's The Age of Innocence, based on Edith Wharton's book, novel of the same title, co-starring Winona Ryder and Michelle Pfeiffer. It won several awards, especially for costumes and art direction. Then he did an adaptation of Arthur Miller's The Crucible and ended up marrying the producer, that was Rebecca Miller, Arthur Miller's daughter. Okay. Then Scorsese's Gangs of New York, which is again a historical and based on a novel, and won his second Oscar for There Will Be Blood, which was followed by a lackluster 9, which was a musical adaptation of Fellini's 8½. I want you to look at his movies, The Last of the Mohicans, The Age of Innocence, The Crucible and Gangs of New York, also There Will Be Blood. Now all these are essentially American characters played by an Irish man. Great American heroes, great American characters played by a British Irish person. Okay, that itself tells you a lot about his range and versatility, that when it comes to and then Lincoln, of course. Okay, it does not get more American than Lincoln, and he gets to play Lincoln, the ultimate American hero. So, starting from Fenimore Cooper's Hawkeye in The Last of the Mohicans, which is all about physicality, and then Lincoln, which is mostly about inward struggle, the typical struggle of a man who is trying to change something around him, and his struggle with the society and the struggle within. Okay, so that, and you would be perhaps interested to know that in one of the American universities there is a core module for a film studies course entirely devoted to, and it is a core course, Daniel Day-Lewis and American history, because his contribution towards understanding of American history is unparalleled. Okay, as a method actor, now I will quickly summarize what I have been trying to say about method for the past several classes, as we have been talking about De Niro, Brando, Pacino. So, Orson Welles famously said, I have always made fun of the method, but I use a lot of things that are taken from it. So, method has something to offer. Originally it is a contribution by Russian theatre director Stanislavski. So, it was called the Stanislavski method system. In the US, it was basically popularized by the exponents of the group theatre in New York City, and later on by people like Lee Strasberg, and Lee Strasberg is almost the godfather of method acting. He has coached the likes of Nicholson, Pacino and Robert De Niro. He has also acted in The Godfather, the second part. He is one of the dons, and in Justice for All, again with Pacino. Pacino always regarded him as a father figure. Stella Adler is another practitioner of method acting. The method is simplistically put, it means that the actor's main responsibility was to be believed, to create a believable character on screen, on stage. And Stanislavski first employed methods such as emotional memory, draw on from your own past experiences, however painful they are, and try to relate them to the to whatever is happening, whatever are the demands of the role. To prepare for a role that involves fear, for example, the actor must remember something really frightening from their personal lives and attempt to act the part in the emotional space of that fear they once felt. So, drawing on their memories. Now, this was a clear break from the previous modes of acting that held that the actor's job was to become the character and leave their own emotions behind. Okay, here they have to draw on from their own personal experiences, and this was more demanding, more challenging. Some of the leading practitioners, all time greats: Marlon Brando, Paul Newman, Montecrist and James Dean. And if you look at the body of work of these people, you will understand what these actors were all about. Okay, they were not just some good looking men trying to enact a role. They were really actors. They were trained in New York, unlike the LA based studio system. And later on, of course, we have De Niro, Pacino, Nicholson, Dustin Hoffman, Sean Penn, Mickey Rourke, Liv Ullmann, a regular of Ingmar Bergman, Swedish actor. Emma Thompson, British; Meryl Streep, of course, American. And then more recent, more contemporary, we have Daniel Day-Lewis, Nicolas Cage, who was once upon a time a great actor. When he won Leaving Las Vegas, there were sparks. Adrian Brody, of course, Christian Bale, the late great Heath Ledger, Forrest Whitaker, and Frank Langella. Frank Langella, a highly respected theatre actor who got his due in cinema much later, but is still one of the greatest. Can you mention some of his films? Who is Frank Langella?
Frost Nixon.
Good. Frost Nixon. He played Nixon too. And who is Frost? Who was Frost? I'll give you a clue. The same actor who played Tony Blair. Okay, so as the title itself would suggest, not too many well known names, not a big budget picture, but a tremendous performance by one of the greatest actors of all time. So, watch My Left Foot, okay, and understand what method acting entails. So, see you tomorrow, and you can make an announcement about tomorrow's class.